now it's too late.
The sun is shining, a grid is forming, and a big crowd is on hand here at Spa-Francorchamps. It is the final support race before we get to the Crown Strike 24 Hours of Spa. It's the second race of the weekend in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe, and it promises to be a really dramatic one, as yesterday's turned out to be, although we had lots of drama at the first corner with an incident that has taken two cars with damage out of today's race, one of which was being driven by returning champion Amaury Bonduel, with a lot of damage done to that, and also Caleb Bayman's car retired after being involved in a start line accident, and a third we've lost because of an accident in qualifying. So it's a rather smaller grid than initially anticipated. However, cars are making their way onto the grid. That enormous grandstand that overlooks Eau Rouge has given the fans a great vantage point today of plenty of action. And as the cars are slotting into place on the grid, it is going to be, for this second race of the weekend, Anthony Pretorius starting on pole position. It's a slightly quirky grid, which in turn ought to lead to a quirky race, because the session yesterday had a red flag, and it meant that some teams only got an outlap and an inlap. And there is one that should have been at the back of the grid, but has stopped out on track. Now, Joseph Knop, in a car that led yesterday's race, has, as you can see, not made it to the grid. The team manager of that car is being summoned to the race director immediately. And as you can see, it's going to have to be towed off the grid. Now, it would have been on the back row, would have been last on the grid, but penultimate on the grid, but it looks like it ain't going to get that far. So, drama already for the car that leads the Pro category in the championship. You've got Pro and Pro-Am, you've got Am and Lamborghini Cup classes within Super Trofeo Europe, but that's a big blow to number 36, the Oregon team entry, Joseph Knop at the wheel. David Addison trackside. Down on the grid is Dakota Jane, and she is with Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius, our pole sitting drivers. Let's join Dakota.
I'm definitely down here on a very busy and hot Super Trofeo grid. Pole sitters number 99. Silas, let's start with you. Yesterday you came in fourth. You finally managed to put a race together to get some good points in the championship. Today, are you feeling confident?
Yeah, we had a good pace yesterday. We started P10 back to P15 due to the chaotic start, and we got a hit on the front, and still managed the P4. So yeah, we are quite confident going into this race, and we have a good opportunity, like a pole position. So
you absolutely do. Unfortunately, other people's mistakes have put you in a very good place to start the race. Let's talk to Anthony a little bit. Thank you very much, Silas. Good luck. Anthony, it's very hot in the car today. I can see you sweating, but you're from South Africa, right? And it's going to be no problem.
Yeah, it's just another day in the office. I think we South Africans are used to the heat, and I think we'll take that to our advantage and try and save the tyres for Silas so that we can have a mega last stint, and well, let's see where we end up.
As a young driver and one of the youngest on the grid, coming to such an iconic track like Spa, what does it feel like to race on this track? You know, so many legends before you have raced.
Well, honestly, it's such a privilege. I'm really just privileged to be here, and let's just try and make the most of it.
You have no words to say. Good luck. Thanks, Anthony. Good.
So Anthony Pretorius, the start driver. Silas Rutter is standing alongside the car. And we get set then for the countdown to the race. We had an accident in the earlier GT4 race, so the timetable has slipped a little bit, but the RACB and the SRO team that organised the event trying to bring things back on target as quickly as and as easily as, because of course there is a 24-hour race still to come. The grid, as you can see, with yesterday's winner, Jerzy Spinkovic, down 28th on the grid. Now, he was another driver who didn't really get a proper lap in because of the red flags yesterday. So Spinkovic will be a man to watch, trying to carve his way up through the field. And he will be 28th and in a big hurry. Let us go back down to the grid. Dakota has been on her travels.
Igor, Super Trofeo star from last year. This is going to be an easy race for you. After yesterday, did your car suffer much damage?
Yeah, it was quite a bit of damage. The boys did great to recover it, and now I think we once again have one of the best cars on the grid. So we'll go from here, try to make a clean start this time out, and move forward.
So obviously there are a lot of quick boys in front of you. What's the plan for the beginning of the race? Are you going to dive in the middle?
I'm not going to say, that's a secret, but make sure we have a decent start and then work. Yesterday, we only here because of a penalty, otherwise it's a pole by more than a second, so I'm confident.
Let's see how you go. Good luck. Thank you.
Dakota being quite brave there, suggesting diving for the middle, because I think that's what Shota Abkhazova did yesterday, and ended up in contact and causing, or triggering, if you like, the incident. And a result of that yesterday is that the car has been given a sixth-place grid drop. So you've just heard Igor Oroshev saying he's only here because of a penalty. Well, that's because, by rights, they would have been further up on that pole position. But it's a sixth-place grid drop, hence a long way back. So he's got good speed and will be a man to watch, that is for sure. So the fans there atop the Racing for Belgium bus down at Eau Rouge, getting themselves ready. 23 Belgians in the 24 hours this year, so a lot of home support. And in glorious weather, which is set to stay, we understand, for the weekend, the fans have come pouring in. The names of Stéphane Lameret and Rodrigue Gillian there on the car, number 27. It's only Rodrigue Gillian driving it this weekend. Stéphane Lameret on 24-hour duties. Let's get back to the grid. Stéphane Tribodini, championship leader in AM.
Stéphane, a great race yesterday for you guys, starting in 9th today. It's going to be busy, busy, busy. How are you feeling?
Yeah, my feeling is good. I will try to do a race like yesterday because I had a lot of fun. My goal, I am first arm, so my goal is to be safe at the beginning because I don't want to take risk with the other category. So I will try to manage my P1 arm and after try to push on my stint to make some gap for Piero. But yeah, hope a good race, fun race.
What did you learn from yesterday that can be applied to today's race?
For sure, the degradation of the tire, you feel it after some laps. You feel the rear moving a bit. Today it's hotter, so it will be more important to preserve a bit the rear tire. So I will try to be careful for Piero.
So have you gone down with the tire pressure?
I hope the team did it. If that's their job, so I don't know, but I'm sure they did it already.
Good luck. Bonne chance. Thank you very much, Stéphane. Obviously, we've seen that tire pressure is absolutely critical. So let's see how they go.
So Stéphane Tribodini, good to go racing. Others, good to go shopping. Lots of model stalls are here, understandably. Not only selling models of 24 Hours of Spa winning entries, but of other 24-hour races as well. There's clothing, there are Spa 24 and GT World Challenge Europe souvenirs as well. And the fan zone behind that area, which looks towards the circuit, you'll see the big concert stage and more places for the fans here to come and eat and drink. If you've never been to the 24 Hours of Spa, you really need to get yourself here at the end of June next year. It's always a fantastic event. It really starts on the Wednesday afternoon with the parade into town, which is a great event. And if you are of a certain affluence and can afford a Lamborghini, then you can go watch from their hospitality area overlooking the start line. The espresso, I understand, is out of this world. Now there is, looking further back on the grid, interesting message written on the car of Alfredo Hernandez Ortega. I wonder whether that message there is in relation to the contact yesterday that did a punctured tyre on the car. A little reminder to the opposition about yesterday. That is the old start and finish area, the big building on the right-hand side, the old control tower, used to be the race control building, now used for hospitality. On the left, just going up the hill, you can see that monster grandstand that was built 2 or 3 years ago. It is not only affording people a fantastic view, but there's restaurant underneath on the ground floor, and it can hold thousands of fans. So it really has become a key landmark of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. The pre-grid is closed, so the drivers now all on the grid. The race due to start imminently, and I think now we have that 1 minute board. Engines are firing up, so the race control team trying to get things back on schedule. There then is on pole position Anthony Pretorius, the South African driver. It's an inherited pole, but it's pole nonetheless. Former karter, he raced in the South African Volkswagen Polo Championship, the same kind of environment that GT racing brothers, the Van der Lindes, came from. Then he had a spell in South African touring cars. He shares it with Silas Rutte, who was in Carrera Cup Scandinavia last year and touring cars prior to that. He had actually done a bit of GT5 Ginetta racing in the UK a few years back, Silas Rutte. On the outside of the front row then is the car from the Target Racing team of Giacomo Pedrini, former single-seater racer. He drove in the Euro 4 Championship, the pan-European Formula 4 style contest. for the Van Amersfoort racing team, and then came through Portuguese supercars and Mitjets into Super Trofeo this year. Third on the grid is where you find Hugo Bach sharing with the very experienced Renault Coupens. Hugo Bach from karting and French GT, and that car was very rapid yesterday. And then fourth on the grid, the first of the soloists, Guido Luchetti, another single-seater driver of years past. And he had a spin after contact yesterday. So formation lap underway, and the cars making their way down through the hairpin at La Source, down to Eau Rouge, and then up the other side through Radion. Anthony Pretorius then starts on pole position, with him at the front of the grid, Giacomo Pedrini, with Hugo Bach starting third, and fourth, Guido Luchetti. Alessio Ruffini is fifth on the grid, a grid drop being given from Milos Pavlovic. Then you've got Igor Orochev starting on the outside of that row, ahead of Pablo Schum and Adam Butera. Next up, Stefan Tribodini alongside Anthony Nara. Stefan Guerin, the Pro-Am Championship leader, is next. Tribodini, the Am leader, by the way. Carimoge, Lamborghini Cup Championship leader, next on the grid, ahead of Paolo Bilieri and Gerhard Watzinger. On the eighth row, Holger Hansson and Andre Lewandowski, just ahead of Massimo Ciglia and then Kar-Hing Tse. You've got Donovan Privitello coming next with Claude Gosselin for company. Gustav Wisniewski is on the 11th row of the grid alongside Alfredo Hernandez Ortega. Row 12, Adalberto Baptista and Francesco Turzo. Next up, it is Rodrigue Gillon ahead of Serge Doms, Christian Bortolato, Jerzy Spinkovic, yesterday's winner, starting way back on the 14th row of the grid. And then a gap, one fears, where we would have had Josef Knopp. Philip Tang, who got a penalty yesterday, is going to complete the grid, and there's no Oregon car at the back. So it does look as though the championship leader out of Pro ain't going to take the start, and this leaves the way clear, therefore, for others to bank some points. With the championship heading before the end of the calendar season to the Misano circuit for its final races. Prior to that, Barcelona, and the next stop is going to be the Nürburgring. So the fans getting set, the drivers getting set, the teams getting set as well, because they will have to be on their toes for the pit stops. There is Luciano Privitello Senior, his son is in the car for the opening stint of the race. Adrian Lewandowski in the rather spectacular blue and green livery going through there. Number 8 rather is Donovan Privitello. And with Josef Knopp's car having been towed off the circuit, it never got as far as the pit lane, so it can't even start from there late, I fear. So it's a rolling start, the formation lap coming to its end. The Lamborghini Urus will control the pace. It will peel out of the way. This is the view from Igor Orochev's perspective. In other words, 6th on the grid. He was the fastest driver in qualifying, but starts 6th because of that grid drop for the infringement of Shotrab Kazava in yesterday's race. Milos Pavlovic also getting that grid drop for causing an incident at Monza last time out, so the penalty is carried to the next race that he starts. And Pavlovic in the green car, still a man to watch, but you've got a couple out of sequence, therefore that's going to make for a lively first couple of laps, to say the least. So in the sunshine, in hot temperatures, the cars now swing their way up from the right-hander of Blanchimont. They have to get themselves in that Noah's Ark 2x2 formation, heading down to the chicane at the end of the lap. Of course, that's also where the pit lane starts. It's the two pit lanes linked together here with the F1 and endurance pits, making it a long pit lane. It's a 50-minute race. 20 to 30 minutes is the pit window. It's a longer pit stop if you are a solo driver by 3 seconds, just to try and balance things out, make it fairer for the incoming driver who is fresh into the race. So it's 132 seconds a pit stop here, plus the extra time. We're ready to go as the cars accelerate up towards the timing line. It's a bit messy in the background, but the lights go green, and it is blast off with a good getaway made then by Pretorius from pole, but all over the back of him is Hugo back around the outside of everybody to try to get the lead in number 9. Goes Giacomo Pedrini. He gets run out wide over the curb. Others go even wider into the gravel, and a whack gives Orangechev a chance to run through the gravel. There's 2 cars already in strife. Look at the top of the screen. They have come to grief. There's a VSR car as well, slow, coming down the hill by the look of it. Race control issue a yellow flag at turn 1. I think it was Adam Patera's car that was slow coming down the hill. The white Vincenzo Sospiri Racing entry, as it is Pretorius ahead of Pedrini. Back is 3rd. And we'll try and piece together who came to grief at the hairpin at La Source. As in the meantime, Igor Orangechev comes up the inside to try to gain ground, and he's up to 2nd, and Pavlovich in the green car round the outside is up to 3rd, but then loses out slightly as Hugo back makes his move back on the inside there, going out of Lecon behind the pair of them now, dropping back in the queue from 2nd on the grid is Pedrini. So he really has been shuffled back, and Holger Harmsen's car is one of those that is being sorted out. Harmsen's been a winner this year in Lamborghini Cup. That should be mobile, and the track therefore clear by the time the leaders come around next time. And we understand that it was 61 of Massimo Sciglia that got involved with Harmsen, so that's being looked at, that incident, as the top 2 now get away. Pretorius just ahead there of Orangechev as they dive down through Pont. Igor Orangechev, though, doing a really good job here, as you might anticipate, because he's always been a quick driver, whether it's been in single-seaters or GT-style cars. And Igor Orangechev then going down towards the pith path, the right and left flick. Uses a lot more curb than does Anthony Pretorius, the race leader. He knows the circuit better than Pretorius, the race leader, as well, in his first season of racing in Europe, Anthony Pretorius. So through they turn, and now down into Campus, as up at Les Combes, a delayed Holger Harmsen back in the race, at least. And let's see what progress can be made from there. So Holger Harmsen presses on, albeit badly delayed after that incident earlier on. Race leaders then come up towards the end of the opening lap of the race, and as they do so, it is going to be Anthony Pretorius just ahead of Igor Orangechev coming down towards the chicane. You can see the gap they've pulled as a big dive is looked at least by Orangechev, trying to unsettle Pretorius. But look how much curb Orangechev uses. We had it up at Les Combes earlier on, and then at the pith path, and even more obvious coming into the chicane. Down through the gears, into La Source, hard on the brakes. Hugo back running then in 3rd place ahead of Milos Pavlovich. Then you've got Pedrini, Pablo Schum and Stefan Tribodini. The car of Hugo back and Renaud Kuppens in that 3rd place. Hugo back then powering his way down the hill. In fact, it's Renaud Kuppens at the wheel, isn't it? So Renaud Kuppens did the 2nd stint yesterday, so he's the start driver today. Apologies to Hugo back, but it's still a good effort as he keeps that car in the mix. The cars now accelerate up towards Les Combes and head into the braking zone. This is Orangechev for the race lead, thinks about the inside line, and again, can't quite do it. Kuppens versus Pavlovich, and Renaud Kuppens back through on the inside then to retake the place. They've got Giacomo Pedrini right with them. Off the road goes Pablo Schum in the background as they wriggle their way out of Les Combes now, over the brow, down to Bruxelles. So Renaud Kuppens is running 2nd currently in Pro-Am. Yellow at Les Combes, up at turn 5 as the leaders change and being elbowed out wide. Pretorius loses out to an inspired Igor Orangechev, who is also the Pro-Am class leader. Pretorius will still lead Pro. Look at the gap they've pulled over Pavlovich, who is up into 3rd place now. Pedrini is on the move as well, so also is Renaud Kuppens. And the road is still showing us that yellow flag in turn 5 as the leaders now come out of Pouan and down towards pith path. So there is Pavlovich running in 3rd place. It's Renaud Kuppens in 4th. In 5th place is Pedrini. 6th is Pablo Schum. 7th is Stefan Tribodini. And then in 8th place it is Guido Lucetti. 9th is the car of Stefan Guerin and Georgi Dimitrov. And the top 10 rounded out by Karim Auger. This is how Orangechev got the lead. Found a gap on the inside coming out of Bruxelles. Got the undercut beautifully and through he went. So as the cars plunge downhill once again, they're going through is the car of Guido Lucetti, currently in 8th place, having lost out early on in the race. Pretorius still leading in Pro, coming then now into the chicane. Leader flicks through. And as the drivers accelerate their way over the timing line once more, Orochev building that gap. He should be on for the fastest lap of the race. He is at 2:20.9, as not only does he lead his class by a good margin, but he's also pulling clear of Pretorius in second place. There's Pavlovic second in Pro-Am. Renaud Coupens is third in Pro-Am. So the pros in the Pro-Am cars certainly able to live with the drivers out of the pro category. But then, of course, when they put their AM in, they're rather dependent on their pace, their ability for the ultimate race result. Noise in the background is the cars just skimming the curb on the way down into Eau Rouge. The climb the other side of it. You can see now Renaud Coupens under attack once more because right on his tail is Giacomo Pedrini. And there's a yellow flag still at turn 5 because number 7, Karim Auger, has stopped there. So this is, for the moment at least, a no overtaking zone. Karim Auger, big disappointment because he's the Lamborghini Cup Championship leader. So a non-finish here, really disappointing for him. The leaders make that run again down over the brow, heading into Bruxelles, hard on the brakes, turn right. You can see there 88 of Pablo Schurm under attack from Stefan Tribodini. The car of Adam Patera that was delayed on the opening lap coming out of La Source is now picking up pace, picking up places once again. Patera running in 11th spot. Replay of the start, all looked a bit messy with cars all over the road. You see Renaud Coupens go to the inside line. Here comes Pedrini on the outside, and the blue car of Igor Orochev also on the outside. He ended up being roughed up. Quite a few hooking a wheel in the gravel. I think Patera was one of them, and that's why he was delayed. Have a look. Yeah, Orochev got hip and shouldered into the gravel, and Patera was way, way off the racetrack. You can see at the top of the screen, though, Holger Harmsen being involved with Massimo Ciglia, the two cars coming to grief. And so right now it is Igor Orochev. We wait for him to accelerate out of the Cours Paul Frère. Through he goes. He's getting away from Pretorius, even though Anthony Pretorius did an absolute best first sector on this lap. There is Donovan Privitello in number 8. And that is another of the cars that runs in the Lamborghini Cup contest. Perfect opportunity here to try to gain places, gain points with Karim Auger out of the race. So Orochev leading Pretorius, and I just wonder whether the South African driver might be bringing down that gap, as you see flinging the car into the chicane, walloping the curb there. Milos Pavlovic turns through the two elements and then powers it over the line. The chicane reprofiled many years ago, and a totally different look from the original bus stop chicane that used to go really where the spectator bank is now the run into the current chicane area. So the leaders round La Source in super slow-mo. This is Igor Orochev coming into the chicane, rattling the curb and getting two wheels airborne, crash lands, and there's another yellow up at turn 15. So we're going to have drivers having to reduce their pace in that last sector of the lap there. Milos Pavlovic really throwing the car into the chicane. He and Alessio Ruffini took a maiden victory yesterday. It was a delighted Ruffini with the Serbian Milos Pavlovic, and right now they are second in Pro-Am. Igor Orochev building an advantage for his co-driver Shotron Kazova to take over. Down towards Bruxelles they come. So yellow flag is in that last sector. Very, very wide in the background goes Stefan Tribodini as he runs it wide coming out of Les Combes. That hands the place to Guido Luchetti on the inside line. Luchetti goes by, makes that look pretty easy as he rattles through on the inside there. The cars drop downhill then now, and as they do so, this is the run into Pouan. So Renaud Coupens in number 2, trying to get away from that snarling pack behind him, and he is getting away, I think. We're going to have a full course yellow as well. Alain Adon, the race director, calling for a full course yellow to remove the car at turn 15. There are the yellow lights flashing, so the full course yellow countdown starts at 20 seconds, then you get 10. There is the race control team, and the full course yellow now is called. And that's the reason why, with a lot of rear damage, 38 is off the racetrack, Philip Tang. And looking at the right rear corner, Philip Bang, because that has damaged the suspension quite markedly. Whether that was the impact or the cause of the off, as yet unknown. But the net result is that we have a race suspension, full course yellow called for, and the cars now come under the yellow flag conditions. Let's see whether this tells us. Philip Tang makes contact, gets sideways, yes, and that just spears the car across the racetrack, bang, into the barrier. So Philip Tang okay and out of the car, but yes, it was the impact into the barrier that did the suspension, and he's not getting out of that. So you don't often find a car that far round the corner in the gravel trap, but the gravel trap doing its job and making the speed reduced, and therefore the impact slightly less when Tang got as far as the tyres. So the field slows down under this full course yellow that we now have, and hopefully it won't be too long before Philippe Tang's car can be removed. It just needs a lift. There's the escape road nearby. What it does mean is that Egor Orodchev's pace now is reduced. He's done the fastest lap of the race. We've had the first 10 minutes pretty much of this 50-minute race elapse. Slots his way through the chicane here. Up over the timing line goes Egor Orodchev. Anthony Pretorius runs second, Milos Pavlovich third, and then it's quite a big gap. You can see that has opened up to the fourth placed car of Renault Kuppens. Giacomo Pedrini runs in fifth place. And then in sixth spot, it is going to be Pablo Schum. There is Philippe Tang sitting on the wall. He's okay, but very frustrated to say the least with the damage to the car. The safety car is now called, so the full course yellow slows everybody down, and then that develops into a safety car, actually to allow the cars to go faster, and therefore to keep tyre temperature up. So they're going up the hill is Egor Orodchev. Now this is sort of doubly bad news, because not only is the safety car going to bunch people up and reduce his advantage, but it's also eating into the stint time available to him, and therefore fewer opportunities to build up the gap again the other side of the safety car intervention. So frustration abounds for Egor Orodchev, who is the man at the moment edging left and right to make sure there is warmth in the tyre ready for the resumption of the race, and currently making the run towards Les Combes. Turning now towards the right, left, right sequence. Number 6 of Adam Patera, 10th, and his co-driver, Paul Levert, watching all of this with Dakota.
Paul, not a great start from you guys. What happened in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Adam was pushed a bit wide in the gravel at turn 1, and then after he had troubles to get back on track. He did a mega job to avoid anyone going back, so now we fight our way back, and we'll do our best.
Are you going to be able to fight your way back to the top? Has the car got good pace?
Yes, the car had good pace yesterday also. I think the second stint is difficult with the temperature and the degradation of the tires. But we worked a lot on the data and everything to find the best compromise, and I think we have it.
And obviously Adam's very new to Super Trofeo. How confident are you on these sort of restarts?
Yeah, yesterday he did a mega job discovering the track, so I'm not stressed for him to do a good job again today. And he has already gained 5 positions, I think, so no stress for me.
Good luck. We'll let you get your helmet on and get ready. Thank you.
Monza winner Paul Levert then with Adam Patera, who does the first stint today. Replay of the start. Have a look at the first of those white Vincenzo Sospiri Racing Run cars. They're on the outside of the road. So there, number 6 is Adam Patera, and he just gets lent on, really, forced wide over the curb, and that gravel trap is right behind the curb. So there, from another angle, look, Patera's car ends up getting sideways, and it bounces into the gravel, and that just sucks all the momentum away from it. So he tumbles down the order, and he's now rebuilding that. This is how Egor Orodchev saw the start. Darts out there, look, from behind the traffic, gets past Guido Luchetti. Down through the gears, he's on the outside line, hoping that the road is clear ahead of him. Gets a knock from, looked like Renault Kuppens on the inside, and that forced him up onto the curb. Orodchev then slightly delayed, but nothing like as seriously as Adam Patera was. So Philippe Tang's car hangs, and that is going to be put on the back of the flatbed and taken away. So as soon as that's gone, the road will be clear, and the race director trying to get things back underway. Number 17, you can see there, is Serge Doms, another regular within Lamborghini Super Trofeo. He shares with Nigel Bailly, the disabled driver. Serge Doms, runner-up in the Legends Formula in Benelux, going back, gosh, 15 years or so. Nigel Bailly, former motocrosser, injured and coming back into competition through specially adapted cars such as GT3 or now Super Trofeo machinery. So with the field working lap number 5 up towards the chicane they come, heading to the end of this lap, and as they do so, The field all in the same order, of course, no overtaking permissible. Egor Orodchev, race leader, and he will turn his way now up to La Source. A time penalty is being given to number 61, Massimo Ciglia, for causing a collision, 10-second penalty, and also number 17, Serge Doms, for causing a collision. So two of them copping a penalty, others getting warnings about track limits. Pablo Schum in 6th place already on his final warning, and another one on a final warning is the car in 5th place of Giacomo Pedrini. So two of the front runners here needing to be careful. Out of La Source, downhill. So going through number 14, Adalberto Baptista. He runs in the Lamborghini Cup element of the race. Another man to watch is number 25, Jerzy Spinkovic, yesterday's winner. He started 28th and he's up now into 14th place. And the reason that Baptista is only 4th in class is partly to do with a big moment like this at the chicane. Getting the car all sideways in super slow-mo, being caught as well there by Claude-Yves Gosselin behind. The field turning its way into Le Camp, safety car in this time. This safety car period helped Jerzy Spinkovic as well, because with everybody bunching up, or they should be bunching up, that means that he can attack a few more on the restart. By the end of the lap, the lights will go out, the safety car will slow down and bunch up the field, so that will get the pack to regroup. There is Spinkovic in the orange car. So yesterday's race winner, heading down towards Pouan, and the former Clio racer, a man to watch as we get set for the resumption of the race now. Spinkovic's another victim of that red flag in qualifying yesterday. That's Donovan Privitello leading in Lamborghini Cup at the moment. So Privitello ahead of Karchi Tsay, top two in the class. Silas Rutter getting ready to take over the car that is second overall and leading in pro. So we're going to go racing before the pit window was due to open, which is good. That doesn't need to be delayed or modified at all. The safety car charges away now. Christopher Campbell, one of the safety car drivers, making sure that he's well clear of everybody else before the car has to take up its position for further deployment, and then we can get the race back underway. So Jerzy Spinkovic in number 25, the orange car, the one to watch on this resumption to see what further ground he can make. Orodchev goes early, having slowed the pace to a crawl into Blanchimont. He accelerates away now, trying to get the drop on everybody else and try to rebuild a lead for Shotram Kazava, his co-driver. Into the chicane they come now. Goes into the right, then left flick, up towards the timing line, and with 32 minutes on the clock, we're back racing. Over the line with a good gap goes Orodchev, breaks the beam, goes down towards La Source. He's being pursued vigorously by Pretorius in second place. In third is the green-fronted car of Pavlovich. Renaud Kuppens there is fourth. Fifth is the largely grey car of Pedrini, and the grey and gold colours of Pablo Schum in sixth place. Still leading in Pro-Am, that is Orodchev, Pro, Pretorius, Am, Stefan Tribodini, Lamborghini Cup going the way of Donovan Privitello as they dive downhill, ride the curve, and then charge through Eau Rouge up the other side. Side by side here, Schum and Luchetti. This is for sixth. Pablo Schum was ahead, but it's the blue and grey car of Guido Luchetti round the outside. You can see them coming into shot now that tries to squirm under braking and go round the outside. He did try, but it doesn't work, and off the road goes Tribodini in number 66 there, the white car. So Luchetti fails, but he did try, and Tribodini maybe left his braking as late as Luchetti and realised that was the wrong plan because he was off the road even more spectacularly. So Guido Luchetti for the moment is still stuck seventh. That's Spinkovic going through the shot. Turning out of Brussels, they'll drop downhill again. The race leader is Igor Orochev. 1 second the margin over Anthony Pretorius at the restart of the race, and looking to try to build on that over the first proper racing lap since that safety car went back in. But actually it's for second place where the battle is, because you can see Pretorius is being caught again by Pavlovich. Then a bit of a gap back to fourth place Renault Coupons. You've got 3 Pro-Am entries in the top 4 right now as Luciano Privitello gets ready to go. The Privitellios have gone through a number of teams in recent seasons, but remain loyal to the championship, which has come back onto the support programme with SRO events this year. Great to have Lamborghini Super Trofeo back so regularly. The pit window is now open. The cars come into the chicane, and as they do so, a big lock-up from Igor Orochev. You can see just how hard he's pushing, how hard he's trying. His main task in all of this is to give a big gap to Shotram Kazava to take over, and we've got cars now heading for the pit lane, look. So 1 or 2 bail. They take that longer line around the back of the chicane, get to the pit lane speed limit line, slow right down. Those on top of the pit brasserie watching on. And they see, first of all, Giacomo Pedrini come in, then Pablo Schum, then Guido Lucetti, then Georgi Dimitrov, Stefan Garan's car. Garan at the wheel of it, Adam Patera is in, Anthony Nara is in as well. So there is Pablo Schum, 88. Pit stops down to the time, 132 seconds line to line. If you're on your own, like Schum, there's an extra 3 seconds that you've got to serve. And it's really important that the car controller gets this absolutely right, so he knows when to release you, so that you're out maybe a 1/10 of a second over the minimum time, not under it. Rodri Gillon there in the Belgian colours, on the outside line, fighting for position. Look, coming up towards the Lecombe sequence, and goes round the outside of Alfredo Hernandez Ortega to gain a place. That's Ortega falling back. Engines fire up in the pit lane again, stop completed. Pablo Schum for the Lippert team, ready to go. Now the car controller will wave him away at the allotted time, computing that by the time he's got to the end of the long pit lane, then he'll be okay for the regulation time. Away goes Pablo Schum. Some of the other cars you might think are going sooner, well, they are if they've got 2 drivers, so they gain 3 seconds in that respect. There's Pretorius still second, and Pavlovich is still third as they come now through the right-hander of Campus. This is that crawl down the pit lane, ready to rejoin the racetrack. And even if those cars drop off the lead lap, they'll get it back when these 3 leaders serve their mandatory pit stops. So 33, which is Milos Pavlovich, pressing on. He will go long. Orochev will go long because they are quicker than their AMs. So therefore it's going to reward them better, as you see now. Jerzy Spinkovic, yesterday's race winner, way wide over the curb. This is the first real look we've had at the pace of Spinkovic, and you can see he's picking off the AM entry of Adrian Lewandowski, coming now up through the chicane. So another place gain. Spinkovic stays out. That's going to put him for the moment up into, what, 7th place, but it's a distorted 7th with others pitting. Here, back into the race come 2/3 of the Oregon pack. And there, into the Lecombe sequence, comes the car that Patrick Fraboni is now driving. Guido Lucetti turns through, Pablo Schum turns through, and there a little bit further back, you can see the quicker cars hustling their way through the traffic. So Igor Orochev, the race leader, working his way past the slower cars. Now, there is 36, which is Enzo Garacci, we are told, having taken it over from Josef Knopp. Now that is a lap down. So it's joined in late, but it has joined in. Squeal of tyres, contact, and more contact, I'm afraid, as Clovier Gosselin was given a little knock, turned the car around. The second impact straightened him up to a degree. A bit of bodywork flies as there, going through, is now number 2, which is the car that Renault Coupons and Hugo Bach share. Nigel Bailly is getting ready to go with the help of the team. And he throws himself into the car, wriggles in. Mechanic will strap him in, and there Serge Doms takes the chair away. Nigel Bailly quick competitor, so he'll be one to watch in that Lamborghini Cup fight once the car is on track. Right, there is the car that was second, Anthony Pretorius, but he's a bit stuck in the traffic this time around. He's got Oregon entries around him, and you see there number 17 serving the stop, so Nigel Bay is ready to go. Igor Orodchev then continues to hustle on. Pretorius now looking for a way through the traffic, coming up towards the chicane. The car that he's trying to get past there is number 61, the penalised Massimo Ciglia entry. He's now given that over to Pietro Perolini, and down the pit lane comes Anthony Pretorius then. So from second place, in he comes. He will give that car to Silas Rutter, and now it's going to be the fascination to see the pace of Rutter relative to Shotram Kazava, who's going to take over from Igor Orodchev. Hugo back, getting ready to jump aboard the car that Renaud Kuppens brings into the pit lane there, look. So Kuppens gives way. Hugo back, who is new to the championship this year, having raced in the French GT series. Two more newcomers, Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius, do the switch. Another of the many Lippert cars, one of the regular teams in the championship. So while you have cars in the pit lane like this, so the order is a shuffling. Jerzy Spinkovic yet to pit up into fourth place, and Enzo Garacci in that car that was troubled at the start in the hands of Josef Knop, also now showing good pace. Orodchev stays out for another lap. Anthony Pretorius is down, he walks away, and the Lippert crew ready to wave Silas Rutter back into action. Now, a little bit further down the order, one or two drivers, of course, out of sequence, having pitted against others that have yet to pit. Igor Orodchev coming now into the right-hander of Pif-Paf, and then into Campus. We've got another incident being looked at, which is Adam Patera and 88 also coming under investigation from race control, which is the Pablo Schum entry. There in the pit lane is 77 of Alfredo Hernandez Ortega. And a big lose there, and that is Pablo Schum getting it wrong coming out of Blanchimont. Pablo Schum with a big spin into the wall, and that's quite an impact. Get it wrong at Blanchimont, and the car spins across the racetrack into the barrier, and there'll be yellow flags at Blanchimont. Pablo Schum will be a little shaken with that. That was certainly a high-speed spin and an impact into the barrier that will have taken the wind out of his sails. Hopefully he might be able to get that car moving, at least to limp into the pit lane. Otherwise, it's going to be another interruption to the race to get that moved. But Pablo Schum looks like he did that on his own. Silas Rutter then rejoins the race, or joins the race. That car rejoins. And now the last handful of the pit stops, which are regulation stops, cycle through. Guido Leccetti here, getting himself up in the traffic alongside, and the yellow flag is confirmed at the end of the lap. Georgi Dimitrov, number 13, is the car that he was squabbling with, as you can see. Dimitrov into Lecombe. Georgi Dimitrov has already proved this year to be very fast indeed. Pablo Schum is okay. Look, the door is open, he clambers out of the car. The car is rather less than okay, and you can see how close it is to the edge of the road. So I do fear this is going to have to be another interruption. And look, over the curb, just lost traction, goes in backwards, does a lot of damage to the rear. The car spins around and ends up on the grass. Pablo Schum's race run. But I would be surprised if the car were allowed to stay there. So another full course yellow or another safety car period may be required to get it out of the way. 34 to the pit lane this time around is the Gustav Wisniewski, now Rosario Messina car. And looking further back, here is Hugo back with Georgi Dimitrov in the all-black car, trying to wriggle his way up through the traffic as well. There is Adrian Lewandowski going through, but up front, still holding sway, is Igor Orodchev. 34 gets going. So into the race now goes Rosario Messina. And as far as the leader is concerned, he is ticking off the laps, and he's going to have to come in this time because he can't squeeze another lap out of the pit window, which is 40 seconds or so away from closing. So this is the charging Silas Rutte. Behind him is Patrick Fraboni. So this is in real terms in the battle for second. And another car off the road. That is Hugo Back, and he's done exactly the same thing at Blanchimont. Having said it's unusual to see a car go off there, we get two in quick succession, and that has absolutely cemented the race director's decision because they can't leave two of them there. Hugo Back trying to rejoin. How badly damaged the rear of his car is, we'll see if he does get it going. Here's the replay. In fact, it had broken sideways even before he got to the curb. So into the barrier, not quite as damaging a spin and damaging an impact as it was for Pablo Schum. But Hugo Back's car is still stranded. And the pit window is now closed. So everybody that didn't get a stop done is in the pits now, so that's all fine. You've got to be in before the window closes, not the pit stop actually completed. So Shota Abkazova jumps on board, but I'm convinced we're going to have another full course yellow or safety car. For the meantime, they can carry on racing. So Spinkovics versus Georgi Dimitrov here. Dimitrov in the black car, Spinkovics in the orange, and the blue livery is that of Guido Luchetti. This is a proper fight, and they come over the brow down into Bruxelles. Georgi Dimitrov has been victorious 4 times in Pro-Am this year, also a winner outright going back to Paul Ricard. So they had a really good season, Georgi Dimitrov and the experienced Stefan Guerin. So downhill they drop. This is Shota Abkazova. Didn't get very much racing in yesterday because his car was eliminated in the turn 1 accident. That's Silas Rutte. Away now goes Abkazova. So you might think, well, he's going to have a massive advantage, but he's still got to trickle all the way down the pit lane here and then turn sharp right and then trickle all the way down the endurance pits. So Silas Rutte can do all of that at full speed on the track. Coming now into the Courbe Paul Frere, back onto the power, and he drags the car out the other side. The yellow light flashing, those light panels all the way around the circuit to make sure that the drivers, whether it's in daylight or dark, know of an incident up the road. I think Abkazova is going to come out ahead, but by what margin we'll find out shortly. We've got Pier Giacomo Randazzo leading in the AM class at the moment. The best of the pros is Silas Rutte, and the leading Lamborghini Cup entrant is Luciano Privitello, who's taken over from his son. So there is Rutte, there is Fraboni behind as they come across the line. And these are squabbling at the minute for second place, but it might be for the lead, depending on where Shota Abkazova is, and indeed how quick he is at rejoining. There's Abkazova making the climb up the hill. He's going to come out with a big lead by the look of it. So Shota Abkazova now back on track, and the safety car is called, so it doesn't really matter what the gap is because it's all going to bunch up once more. Safety car called. And as the field turns into Les Combes, there, Shota Abkazova is leading from Silas Rutte, and then in third place, Patrick Fraboni. In fourth place, Alessio Ruffini, and everybody's going to bunch up. Georgi Dimitrov in the background is sixth behind Dimitri Engelbert and Anthony Nara's car. Dimitri Engelbert there has just taken it over, the black and red entry. Then it's Dimitrov, then it should be Spinkovics, and then it should be Luchetti. It's going to be interesting to see not only how many minutes of racing we get in after the safety car period, but how that changes the order. So downhill comes Shota Abkazova, and you can see the recovery vehicle already on the move there. So the car at the end of the lap of Hugo Back and of Pablo Schum need to be retrieved. The safety car with the green light on means that is allowing cars to go past that it does not require. It wants the leader. So if the green light is on, you can overtake it. And the race control team will say to the safety car driver, OK. So the race leader is coming into turn, and in this instance, it is 12. And then you'll be able to have notification of when the leader is behind you. Then the pace will pick up. The lights will be changed from green to the pure safety car orange, and then safety car procedure will happen. Pablo Schum's deserted car sits on the grass. And there, Shota Abkazova brings the field up towards the chicane. The safety car at an absolute crawl now, waiting for the lead car to catch him. And Alcázar sees the two parked cars, which understandably can't be left there. If one can go wide and spin, and certainly a second, then definitely a third could. And car hitting car, definitely not to be encouraged. So the race neutralised, and this is how the first part of the drama happened. Pablo Schum going a little bit wide and the car breaking away as he ran over the curb. And then it wasn't long before Hugo Bach got it sideways even before the curb, and around he went, and it wasn't quite as hard an impact. It still lifted the back off the ground, so it would have done some damage for sure. And he joins that car park coming out of turn 17. So under safety car conditions, there is the race leader, Trofeo. Got 15 minutes of the race still on the clock, and there is the safety car, thinking, where have they all gone? And Trofeo is being a good boy in as much as he's slowed right down, so he's going at the regulation speed, but that means it's an even longer process to catch the safety car. The recovery vehicles can't really be deployed until the field is in a line. When you've got everybody under control and in a line like this, then you've got a lot of space, a lot of lap on which you can do the recovery work. This is where a safety car scores over a full course yellow, because you've got one line that goes past and then there's a lot of clear track space, whereas a full course yellow means you've got a constant stream of cars. Up towards Les Combes, then goes Alcázar ahead of Silas Rutter. Patrick Fraboni is third, Alessio Ruffini fourth, Dimitri Angelbert fifth, then Dimitrov, Spinkovic, Luchetti, Paul Levet and Adrian Lewandowski, who is now the leader of AM. You can see in the background Dimitri Angelbert in that red and black car, weaving around to maintain some tyre temperature. So we have Silas Rutter currently leading in the pro class. Anthony Pretorius did the first stint, a good first stint, and he's now with Dakota.
Anthony Curry running in third place behind the safety car. Now, you said to me that it was a bit of a struggle at the start. Explain that to us, please.
Yeah, I think we set up the car to last the race, and I think I just tried to manage the tyres a bit, and we struggled to get them up to temp at the start. I think just being a bit too cautious, but I think we lie in P2 now, and Silas is going to have very, very good tyres. So we holding thumbs, and let's see what he can do.
What's it like being under safety car for a while and then obviously getting the restart underway? You've worked all that time to get the tyres up to speed, and now what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's just to focus on keeping the temp in the tyres and just being awake on the restart, just to maximise everything and then be full attack straight away.
If you could tell Silas anything right now, telepathically, what would you say?
Just push. I think we both have the same mindset, and I'm sure he's going to give it everything.
Good luck, thanks.
The car that's currently fourth, Alessio Ruffini, has been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. And we've also got a car with a 1-second time penalty for a short pit stop. But that's being shown as car number 1, and we don't have a car number 1, so the plot thickens a bit there. So Alcázar, race leader. You can see everyone has now caught up to him. That's Pablo Schum's car being taken away. And I think Hugo Bach's car already sorted out. So the road is almost ready to receive cars at race pace again. I know, Hugo Bach's car just being lifted now. So almost there. So the car's on track coming into Blanchimont. There's going to be certainly one more lap, and hopefully that will be the last lap of the race. Down they come. Here they come into bus stop, as it used to be called, the chicane. Very un-bus stop shape these days, so it's dropped its moniker. The penalised car of Ruffini is the green one, just going through shot. So this penalty for causing a collision definitely does not help him with the field under safety car all bunching up like this. Speed building as they come out of the incident zone, over the timing line, and now down towards the hairpin at La Source. So the clock has 10 3/4 minutes, give or take. That lap was about 4.5 under the safety car. So even if it's a quick safety car lap, what are we looking at? Maybe 7 minutes, maybe a little bit less even, as the cars get set to restart. Out of Eau Rouge, up Radion they go. And with a very busy Spa-Francorchamps, the Ferris wheel is a turning, the fans are enjoying themselves in the weather, and the teams for the Crown Strike 24 Hours of Spa, including many running Lamborghinis, of course, getting ready for the main part of the weekend. That's the walkway up to Les Camps. And the other car that's been given a penalty for a short pit stop is number 74, the Dimitri Angelbert Anthony Nara entry. So 74 rather than car 1. That's inflation for you. Dimitri Angelbert, 5th on the road. You'll see the black and red livery when we have the front of the field coming past the cameras. And Dimitri Angelbert gets the penalty. There is Hugo Bach's car with quite a bit of suspension damage where it spun. I wonder whether something broke to pitch it into the spin, because it did seem to slide before it even got near the curb. So maybe it wasn't entirely Hugo Bach's fault. Maybe it's his fault for hitting a curb earlier, but not guaranteed. So that's confirmation, a time penalty for the Anthony Nahara Dimitri Angelbert car, and there it is, going out of Piff Paff. So lap number 14 currently being worked. Weaving around from one or two of them, as you see Angelbert keen to get on with the programme on the resumption of the race. The Lamborghini guests then watching on opposite the pit lane, the Formula 1 pit lane, the top pits if you like, and they will see the cars at the end of this lap go back to racing, because safety car is in this time. Showtrup Karsova then has not really had to do a proper racing lap yet, and when he does have to do a racing lap, boy, is he going to be busy, because he's got everybody stacked up behind him. The target really now for him is to win the class. The opposition is the penalised Alessio Ruffini in 4th, and the other car in his class is also penalised, Dimitri Angelbert. So let's see how it all pans out, because Ruffini has been a bit slow there coming out of Blanchimont. He's not really gone after the pack on the resumption of the race. So here comes Karsova up towards the line. Silas Rutter in 2nd place, needs to keep at bay Patrick Fraboni in the grey car as they head now into the right-hander at La Source with 8 minutes on the clock as they turn through the corner now. And Ruffini goes wide, so he's dive bombed straight away by Angelbert and also by the car of Georgi Dimitrov now. Dimitrov's going to be one to watch, I reckon, in all of this, because Georgi, very quick driver, as we've seen this year, 4 times a winner in Pro-Am, working his way up the order and doesn't have any penalties as Abkhazova runs wide and he's about to lose the overall race lead. Silas Rutter up alongside him then. They power their way up towards Les Camps, and Rutter is going to go through. He's got his nose in front. Also in that battle pack is Patrick Fraboni, and Abkhazova standing his ground on the inside. There's nowhere really for Fraboni to go. Round the outside goes Silas Rutter to take the lead, looking for a maiden win in the championship. Further back there was Spinkovics on his toes, and Ochetti likewise. Up to 2nd goes Fraboni, or does he? No, there's contact. He was crowded onto the curb. He hits Abkhazova, who spins. Fraboni spins as well. Yellow flags at Les Camps, and I think Abkhazova has got going again. He has, and Fraboni getting going now also, but that shuffles the order and it completely turns the Pro-Am battle upside down. Abkhazova falls back in the queue. It also gives Silas Rutter a free ride in Pro, because now Angelbert is up to 2nd, and that's a Pro-Am car with a 1 second time penalty. So Georgi Dimitrov in the black car up to 3rd overall is going to be, as long as he stays within a second of Angelbert, 2nd on corrected times and the winner of Pro-Am. How quickly things can change. 6.5 minutes are on the clock, and this is what happened. So have a look at the 3rd car. Fraboni makes his lunge on the inside. He's just about level. He tries to get up on the curb to avoid any contact, but there's still a touch between them, and both of them spin. So they just about get away, and the road opens up for those behind. More gravel dragged onto the racetrack. So you're on board here with Showtrup Karsova. That's Silas Rutter going around the outside. Fraboni is right behind. Into Les Camps they come. Abkhazova takes his line for the 2nd part. Fraboni is on the right. He's almost level. And there's the whack. Around goes Abkhazova, and he manages to find a gear. and accelerate away once again, thankfully before he was collected by anybody else. So, Silas Rutter is away and gone up front as he comes over the timing line. In second place, then, it is Dimitri Angelbert, who has the 1 second time penalty, and that means that now Georgi Dimitrov, who is 4 tenths back, is going to inherit the class lead. But up to 4th now has come Paul Levette in the car that he shares with Adam Patera. Now, that's going to be another one to watch, isn't it? Because that's a quick car. It's also running in pro with 5.5 minutes to go. Downhill they plunge once again. So Silas Rutter trying to get away from the opposition, trying to build that gap. More drama. 23 this time in strife. That's at the chicane, is it not? And Francesco Turzo is facing the wrong way. So he is absolutely stricken. And that car hopefully will be able to get going, as Dimitrov doesn't need to worry about corrected time. He passes on Jobert, who gets collected by Paul Levette, and another one into the gravel trap. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Safety cars breed safety cars. So more disappointment for Dimitri Angelbert, who tries to drive out of the gravel bed. And he does so. Good man, well done. So Dimitri Angelbert gets out of the gravel, rejoins the race, but that's going to get looked at as well. The stewards are in for a busy hour or 2 or 3 after this race, aren't they? Because there's so much drama since we had that resumption of the race after the incidents, plural, at turn 17. Patrick Fraboni is under investigation for the incident with Shotrab Kazava, who was penalised after yesterday's dramas. Still Turzo, I think, he's trying to get going again, as here Silas Rutter leads the way. He does not want a safety car, and Francesco Turzo has not got going, as you can see. So, what happens next? There were yellow flags covering that, and this is how he got there. So the field all a bit crowded, and Turzo turns in. He gets collected here, he gets turned around. Full course yellow is called. The contact looked to have come from Claude-Yves Gosselin, number 4. Yes, it did. There's the witness mark on the side. So our third interruption, it's a full course yellow. And wouldn't you just know it, as soon as Alain Adam calls for it, into the pit lane comes Francesco Turzo, having got the car going. So the full course yellow can be withdrawn. And on short notice too, that would get the race back underway. Restart on short notice, it says on the timing screen indeed. And the green flag can fly, and we can be back racing. Guido Lachetti up the inside of Paul Levette and makes that move going into Blanchimont. Is he going to be able to get the place? No, he's not. So the order is Rutter leading. In second place now, it is Georgi Dimitrov. Third is Paul Levette. Fourth is Lachetti. And fifth, side by side, look, Enzo Garacci from way, way back, started, of course, from the pit lane. He's up into 5th place on the road. And indeed, he is on the right lap again now. So Enzo Garacci goes through. The safety cars have really played into the hands of Garacci and Josef Knop. So from the back of the grid, they've actually got past Spinkovic, who was 1 place ahead of them on the grid. So those 2 drivers, particularly Garacci and Spinkovic, have done a really good job getting into the mix here. Shotrab Kazava, in the meantime, has fallen back into 11th place after the spin. The race leaders come up to Lecombe. 2 minutes to go, so there's time for 1 more lap at the end of this. Silas Rutter then leading Georgi Dimitrov by 0.8 of a second, as off the road goes Patrick Fraboni. He, of course, got involved with Abkazova a few laps back, so he is falling down the order. He's also been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision, so things go from bad to worse for Patrick Fraboni. The stewards adjudicate quickly, and Fraboni now has got number 61, Pietro Perolini, right up behind him, although Perolini is sideways there, coming out of Brussels. Drop downhill again here. Abkazova's view, battle pack ahead, going to Pouan. Tough races for Shotrab Kazava, because straight into the car into a safety car period, then he got attacked on the restart. And now he's having to try to regroup as the field accelerate again on towards Pif Paf. A minute and change on the clock in this second race of the weekend in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe. The field swings now right and left, accelerating again on into the campus right-hander. That's 55, which is Adrian Lewandowski, 7th overall, and the leading AM at the moment. The leading Lamborghini Cup car is Gerhard Watzinger, who is a bit further back, as there's another one running wide coming out of Cours Paul Frere. And that was Rosario Messina in another of the Oregon team cars there. Then you've got Fraboni on track, Parolini behind him. This is Silas Rutter, again, into the chicane, and with 40 seconds to go, he's on the last lap in a moment when he crosses the stripe, but look how much closer Georgi Dimitrov has got. 0.8 of a second was the margin. Over the line they come, on to the last lap, and it's 11.10, so it's still close, although Rutter's slightly further ahead this time. In third place, Paul Levesque. Fourth, Guido Luchetti. Fifth, Enzo Guaracci. Sixth is Spinkovic. Gap back seventh. There, the leading Am, Lewandowski. Eighth is Messina. Ninth on the road, Fraboni with a penalty. 10th, Parolini. Abkazova runs 11th as they head downhill again. And 16th is Gerhard Watzinger, that leading driver within Lamborghini Cup. Another one off the road. It is the Privitello car. Luciano Privitello at the wheel of it. That's out of Lamborghini Cup. It looked as though he was trying to rejoin. He does try to rejoin and he succeeds. So the road is clear at the chicane as Privitello throws away places. There's another penalty. It's for Gosselin for causing a collision when he turned around Turzo. But it doesn't matter really because Gosselin's in the pit lane anyway. So he's picked up his own damage. The bite a bit in a way. And out of the race, Claude Gosselin now. Adrian Lewandowski comes towards us. Gerhard Watzinger comes into Lecombe as the Lamborghini Cup class leader. So good stuff by Watzinger. I think he ended up in the gravel on the last lap yesterday, but was still classified as a finisher, as here, Ruffini, Engelbert, and then Rodrigue Gion turned through. So Ruffini has a penalty, Engelbert has a penalty, Gion does not. This is Silas Rutter on target for a first win in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and let's see whether he is going to be able to come through half a lap, not only to win his class, but to win outright as well. That's what you expect from a pro. He's in the Pro Cup, but Georgi Dimitrov, the British driver behind him, has been so good this year that he's always a threat for an outright victory. The experienced Stefan Garand did the start stint, but in this car, it was Anthony Pretorius. He gives way to Silas Rutter, and that car now pounding its way up towards Blanchimont. Silas Rutter, Anthony Pretorius come then in the Leipert Run car into the chicane for the last time. It was Anthony Pretorius that started it. It's going to be Silas Rutter who brings it home, making amends for a Monza mistake. Checkered flag at the ready. Race 2 in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe, won by Anthony Pretorius and Silas Rutter. Second to win Pro-Am, Georgi Dimitrov and Stefan Guerin. Third, Paul Levesque and Adam Patera. Fourth over the line, Guido Luchetti from Enzo Guaracci, Josef Knop, who started late, but with all the interruptions have caught up and passed most of the field. Sixth, yesterday's winner, Jerzy Spinkovic. Seventh went the way of Adrian Lewandowski. He wins Am. Eighth is Rosario Messina from Patrick Fraboni with a penalty, so he will drop behind Pietro Parolini and also Shota Abkazova. So the drivers coming across the line, and as they do so, some very happy teams, some rather frustrated teams as well. There are podiums, of course, for each of the classes in Super Trofeo to reward the efforts of everybody involved. So Rutter and Pretorius winning in Pro from Levesque and Patera, and then Luchetti finishing third. Dimitrov and Guerin winning in Pro-Am from Abkazova and Oronchev, and then Dimitri Engelbert and Anthony Nara. Am was won by Adrian Lewandowski from Paolo Biglieri, and then another car with a penalty, Piero Parolini and Massimo Ciglia for Oregon. And in Lamborghini Cup, just keeping out of trouble, got your result there. Gerhard Watzinger from Adalberto Baptista from Holger Harmsen, who had a spin at the first corner. Well, a first win is always an important one, an important result, and well done for sure to Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius as they come through as the victorious drivers. There is that Leipert Run car making its way back towards the pit lane of the Parc Ferme area therein. Class winning Adrian Lewandowski behind, and an excellent drive by Silas Rutter, by Anthony Pretorius, especially in a race of so many interruptions, having to deal not only with a pit window, but also whether you're going to go full course yellow or safety car and how to adapt. But in the end, Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius are the winners of race 2 at Spa, from Stefan Guerin and Georgi Dimitrov, Paul Levesque and Adam Patera third. Guido Luchetti fourth, ahead of the late starting Enzo Guaracci and Josef Knop. Jerzy Spinkovic in 6th place. Adrian Lewandowski 7th to win Am from Rosario Messina and Gerhard Wisniewski. 9th, Piotr Kazwa, Igor Orodchev, and 10th was Paolo Biglieri. 15th is the Lamborghini Cup winning Gerhard Watzinger. He joins Adrian Lewandowski, Stefan Geran and Georgi Dimitrov as class winners, and the pro class, of course, outright winners Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius. So 30 we started with, and 23 classified. So a bruising affair for some. And they will be back in action at the Nürburgring in late August. So the fans are happy. They get a short break now of around about an hour and a quarter before the track's busy again with the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. And the fans, many Red Bull supporters, they're going to have a car to cheer as well in the 24-hour race. So here the field then pouring into Parc Fermé. 99 of Silas Rutter. The winning car, the winning margin, only 9/10 of a second, but it doesn't matter whether you win by a thousandth, does it, as long as you win, and that's exactly the result for the Leipert squad. Again, I've said it during the race, but one of the more experienced teams in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Not exclusively one mate, they've run cars in GT championships as well, but particularly experienced squad when it comes to Super Trofeo racing. Very international Spa this weekend. There are 45 different nationalities represented in the 24 hours. Stefan Geran there walks over to see Georgi Dimitrov. Silas Rutter's car arrives ready for the rest of the pro class to slot in behind. And a delighted Silas Rutter straight away goes to embrace Anthony Pretorius. And the Leipert squad as well can all join in those celebrations. Years of experience of running in Super Trofeo and making the pit stops right. Pretty emotional for the team. But it's been an overdue win, that. Silas Rutter showing great pace all year. Well done to him, well done to Anthony Pretorius. And these celebrations might go on quite a long time this evening. Dakota is ready. She is going to go and find Georgi Dimitrov, I think, first, along with Stefan Geran as the Pro-Am winners. Let's go and join Dakota.
Another fantastic race from you guys. It was a really, really good comeback. You must be so happy with the result.
Yeah, super happy. I mean, the battle in the middle of the race was really good. Yeah, fighting with the 74. And yeah, it was really intense, but loads of cars spinning in front of me, but once I managed to get the rhythm at the end and overtake everyone, it was a really clean race. And yeah, this guy did an amazing job to lead the car from the start, and then I just had to finish it off at the end.
Stéphane, est-ce que vous êtes content? Are you happy?
Yes, very happy. I love Spa, so I did a good start, and Georgi did a very famous stint, so we score 4 very important points for championship, so we are happy. Thank you.
Yes, you're absolutely dominating the championship so far.
Yeah,
thank you. Well done.
Yeah, they've not just been winning their class, they've been winning races outright as well, so really an outstanding job has been going on there. So, super slow-mo of the victorious car, and an excellent job done by Silas Rutter in that second stint. Anthony Pretorius set him up nicely, didn't he, with that good first stint, and delight all round. So the drivers will be whisked towards podiums in due course, and the teams catch their breath before the championship resumes in August at the Nürburgring. So it's a first win for Anthony Pretorius and Silas Rutter, and that means it's a very special celebration.
Boys, a massive congratulations. You finally managed to put a race together, and you're on the top of the podium. What was better?
Nothing. I'm completely speechless. I think we deserved the win at Paul Ricard, but we had the penalty that dropped us back. So finally, to get that victory here at Spa, the biggest event of the season with a 24-hour race, yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
When you watch the race back, you're going to see Anthony and I talking about you very nervously, anxiously, and watching you to come home on the podium. Anthony, congratulations, first podium in Super Trofeo. You must be feeling absolute. I mean, I can't even imagine. Can you tell us?
Yeah, honestly, just a big thanks to all my sponsors, Proficar, for giving us this amazing amazing car, and just to have this opportunity is such a privilege, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. I think Silas and I have a great pairing, and let's see what the rest of the season has to hold. I think it looks good.
Could you ever have dreamed of this, coming from a small town in South Africa and being here in one of those iconic tracks in Europe and, you know, top step of the podium?
Obviously, it's seeing Calvin and Jordan and Sheldon. It's they inspire me a lot, and with the help of them, it's been with a huge privilege to have them along my side, and it's just a dream come true.
I'm sure they're going to congratulate a fellow Safa after the race. Thank you guys, well done.
Yeah, the Jordan that Anthony Pretorius touches on there, Jordan Pepper, part of the Lamborghini factory driver program, ready for the 24 hours himself in a few minutes' time. So another South African link, and who knows, we might find some more of these drivers becoming factory GT3 drivers before too long. Some already on the junior program. That's Adrian Lewandowski, who was the victor within AM. You can see the Alpines there making their way out onto the circuit, the circuit vehicles in the background, and all of this in the build-up to the Crown Strike 24 Hours of Spa. The chilled wine, the food, the calm before the storm as the flags flutter in the breeze now here at Spa. Still, the sun is shining. A few more little white puffy clouds rolling in just to tease the teams about Spa weather in anticipation of 24 hours of action on a great circuit. So as fans young and old look on, we can have a look in a moment at the highlights of what turned out to be a very busy second race of the weekend. Away from the line, good start by Anthony Pretorius to lead the pack down towards turn one. A good start also on the outside line by the number 9 entry, which put briefly that car up to the pointy end of the order. Then it ran wide, and the net result of that was that Giacomo Pedrini fell back in the queue. There was contact though between Massimo Ciglia and Holger Harmsen that delayed those two drivers, and as the battle went into Les Combes, a good move by Igor Orochev put him up into second place, having lost a bit of ground at the start, and it wasn't long before Orochev was able to make his move against Anthony Pretorius and nip by into P1. There were battles all the way through the field, and sadly we lost Philip Tang as he just touched the back of Serge Dom's car and had this big off into the barrier, damaging the suspension and triggering another safety car. Guido Leccetti was running out of road as he battled with Pablo Schum, and also off the road went Stefan Tribodini into the pit lane for the pit window, the last car to serve the pit stop. Igor Orochev giving way to Shotrov Kazava as Hugo Back had a big spin coming out of Blanchimont and ended up parked next to Pablo Schum's car that had an incident already. And we weren't done yet either, because Abkazova was then given a bit of a rough time by number 9, now with Patrick Fraboni at the wheel. He tried to turn away from it, but still made contact. They both rejoined, although Fraboni got a penalty. Dimitri Angelbert got a penalty, and that was for a short pit stop in number 74, but he'd lost out anyway to Georgi Dimitrov, and then was tagged into a spin by Paul Levette, and he ended up in the gravel, although he did drive out and carry on in the race. And through all the mayhem, the battles continued. Guido Leccetti in number 10 up the inside to try to gain ground into Blanchimont, but it was a win by just under a second for Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius. A maiden win in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe after a really hectic race. So, Lamborghini Super Trofeo Championship action takes a break, as in terms of the championship positions, Josef Knopp and Enzo Garacci ahead now of Jetse Spinkovics, with Paul Levette and Adam Patera finishing third. Patrick Fraboni and Giacomo Pedrini come next, ahead of Anthony Pretorius and Silas Rutter. Guido Leccetti is sixth, and Benedetto Strignano absent this weekend after crashing his car in qualifying. Race winners on the top step of the podium, Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius for the Leipert Motorsport team. So bravo to our winning drivers. The trophy is ready to be presented, and drivers putting on their Hankook tyre hats. Third place trophy will go to Paul Levette and Patera. Second place crew, Georgi Dimitrov and Stefan Guerin. And the outright winners there being Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius. Guido Luchetti, the other driver on the podium, third in the pro category. So there, the Hankook Tire Trophy is being presented. The top three in pro all huddling together. So Silas Rutter, Anthony Pretorius, joined by Paul Levette, Adam Patera, and Guido Luchetti, the one soloist out of pro, for the third step on the podium there. So a safety car period, a full course yellow into safety car, and then another full course yellow, all busy in that race, as the celebrations now can begin for the first time winners in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe, Silas Rutter and Anthony Pretorius. So the championship takes a pause until August. The next stop for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo teams is going to be the Nürburgring. That's followed by Barcelona before the championship finale at Misano. But from a sunny Spa, for a change, it's for now goodbye.